This book has mimosas in the title, but they don't show up until the last chapter, where a character says something like, "We solved the mystery! Let's celebrate with mimosas!" Maybe the publisher read that and thought, "Hey, I love mimosas! We should name the book after this scene!"
Argofunk Book Review, Argofunk Book Review.
Ellie and her family are going to Smar, Alabama for 2 weeks. That's the town where Mitch grew up. Hopefully this vacation will be good for Mitch. He's been so angry and distant lately, always starting fights. It almost feels like he is planning to leave Ellie for someone who doesn't constantly put their kids in danger. Ellie is a professional organizer, so every chapter ends with organizing tips like label boxes correctly, sort big projects into 2 piles, and make a checklist so you don't forget anything. As always, it's weird and out of place to have cutesy cleaning tips sprinkled throughout a murder mystery. When Ellie arrives, she's upset to realize she forgot to bring swimsuits. What happened to make a checklist so you don't forget anything? Fortunately, Grandma and Grandpa have spare swimsuits in kid sizes. That way the kids can spend the majority of the book playing in their backyard pool. That conveniently gets the kids out of the way, so Ellie is free to investigate the mystery. When the Averys arrive, they learn that Great-Grandpa Franklin just died. Around the time his body was discovered, Aunt Christine found a broken window. She called the police to investigate a possible robbery. The police are treating this as a murder investigation. Not really. They only said that so Chapter 1 could end with a big cliffhanger. Uncle Bud is a big shot in town. He abuses his power to get the investigation shut down quickly. Perhaps he's hiding something? Uncle Bud isn't the only suspicious relative. Cousin Felicity is so greedy she breaks into the house to steal all the valuables before anyone else gets a chance to claim them. A jogger named Maggie Key claims to have seen a strange red car outside Grandpa's house the night before. Aunt Christine says, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you." Almost like she's the killer. Detective Cholera talks to Ellie. She knows Ellie has a history of interfering with police murder investigations. We're not told how she knows that. My guess is that the police in Washington and Georgia flagged her name with a warning. Cholera promises to reopen the investigation if Ellie finds compelling evidence. The family discusses what to read at Franklin's funeral. Felicity says Franklin had a bunch of letters from a famous author named Addison McClure. McClure is clearly based on Harper Lee. Franklin and McClure exchanged many letters in their younger days. Franklin always said the letters were private and he would never share them with anyone. Am I the only one who thinks these are love letters? I can see how secret love letters from a famous author would be super valuable, especially when the author in question has only published one thing ever. An unknown person searches the house and slits the couch cushions. Gee, I wonder if they're searching for something valuable. Worse yet, someone steals Grandpa Franklin's body from the funeral home. Both he and the casket disappear. They're found about 20 minutes later in a van in the parking lot. A flyer for Felicity's business is found inside. A college kid named Jake says, "Oh, the body was probably stolen from this guy in English class. Yeah, he was talking about stealing a hearse and taking a joyride." Jake is clearly lying, but the police close the case. When Ellie disagrees, Mitch starts a fight with her, saying she's far too nosy, and she's interfering with his family. Ouch, Mitch. At the viewing, Ellie meets a pushy guy named Stan Anderson. She has to meet him here, because after the funeral, Ellie finds Stan's dead body in Grandpa Franklin's house. Again, Uncle Bud gets the police to close the case quickly. They dismiss the incident, claiming Anderson is a thief who slipped and died by accident. We learn Uncle Bud is a coffee and donuts buddy with the police officer in charge, so it's very unlikely this prognosis will be altered. Again, Mitch argues with Ellie for interfering with his family's private business. Ellie learns the victim was probably more than a thief, as he met with Grandpa Franklin a week ago while falsely posing as a film director. Some family members agree the victim probably isn't a thief, because they don't think Grandpa Franklin had anything valuable worth stealing. They clearly forgot about the famous love letters. Grandpa's will is read. He gives everyone minor things, like one person gets a painting, one person gets his old computer, Felicity gets some stained glass, and Christine gets $75,000. Wow, that is clearly much better than getting a used computer. I'm surprised Felicity is the only one who complains that Grandpa cheated her. The big surprise is Mitch. He gets a sword, a dirt bike, and, oh yeah, the entire house and everything in it. Suddenly, Christine's $75,000 doesn't look so good. I find it weird that Mitch gets the house when his Air Force job in Georgia means he can't possibly live here. I know Mitch gets the house as an excuse for Ellie to search the place and find the mystery solution, but I feel like Ellie could have done that without inheriting the house unexpectedly. Ellie has a minor panic attack because owning a house is way too much pressure. When she sees the garage, she is so upset. Oh man, that's so much work! It takes her a minute to regain her composure. Remember, Ellie is supposed to be a professional organizer. She really should be used to messy garages by now. The weird part is that the garage isn't messy. Everything is packed on shelves, in boxes, fully labeled and organized. There's no reason to get that upset over it. We're told Grandpa Franklin wrote his own book. He has 1,000 copies of it, stored inside 40 book boxes. That means he's got 25 boxes just for one book. That seems a little excessive to me, and now I'm wondering how large the garage is. The police finally take the investigation seriously after they get an anonymous tip that Mitch and Felicity are the culprits. This tip is supported with photos of Mitch and Felicity hugging each other. Fortunately, Mitch is not cheating on his wife. He has a very good explanation and an alibi, which he freely gives before he learns the photos exist. Someone sets Ellie's room on fire and leaves a threatening note behind. At Uncle Bud's request, the police dismiss it as a juvenile prank. Uncle Bud, seriously, stop interfering with police investigations. Your family could die. Thanks to the fire, Ellie has to stay in a hotel. She just inherited a house. Can't she stay there? She oversees the victim's sister arrive at the hotel, demanding to have his belongings. Mitch and Ellie have a dinner date at a restaurant. On the way there, they stop at a college bar to get appetizers and drinks. It seems redundant to get food at a sit-down place right before getting food at a sit-down place. Have my wife and I been doing restaurant dates incorrectly? At this college place, Ellie has a second run-in with Jake. She pressures him into confessing he was paid $1,000 to help the culprit steal Franklin's casket. I'm a little surprised Ellie leaves it at that, instead of telling the police or pressuring Jake. He knows who the culprit is. He could tell her. I mean, I know Ellie doesn't do that because then the book would be 100 pages too short, but still. The second restaurant date is also an excuse to move the plot along. As the restaurant property borders the cemetery, Mitch and Ellie see the culprit digging up Franklin's grave. They chase the culprit away and call the police. When Ellie returns to the hotel, she is starving for food. How is that possible? She just had 2 dinner dates back to back. Well, her hunger is also an excuse to move the plot along. When she goes to the hotel lobby to get food, Ellie meets the victim's sister. She's his real sister. The sister who showed up earlier was an imposter. Mitch finally agrees there is a murder mystery here. He confesses why he's been so weird for months. His military commitment ends in 18 months, and he's not sure if he should re-enlist. I'm not sure why he kept that a secret for so long. Ellie's daughter Livy says she read the letters which were inside Grandpa's book. These are the super valuable love letters. Livy is in 2nd grade. I think she should be smart enough to tell the difference between a letter that's part of a book and a letter that is hidden inside a book. We're later told the letters are kept between the front cover and the first page, which should make it all the more obvious that they're not part of the book. Ellie solves the mystery when she finds an old book in Franklin's house. The back cover of the book has a photo of Maggie with the victim. They write biographies together. Separately, the two of them have been trying to steal Grandpa's secret love letters as research for a new biography. Maggie shows up with a gun and demands to have the letters. The problem is that there's 1,000 copies of Grandpa's book. Ellie has no idea which one has the secret letters inside. She searches book by book, which gives Maggie plenty of time to confess all the details of her plot. A surprise villain shows up. It's Harriet, who used to be Maggie's literary agent. Someone offered her millions of dollars for the secret letters, so she wants to steal them. Ellie finally finds the letters. She pushes the box of books as hard as she can. Maggie is knocked unconscious, while Harriet steals the letters. She doesn't get very far before the police arrest her. Ellie decides to return the letters to McClure rather than sell them for millions. She very much doubts the letters are worth that much money anyway. The end. Post-book follow-up. This book is fine for the series. The story doesn't get boring at any point, and the drama with Ellie's husband worked. I just wish Ellie's investigation was better, as evidenced by the triple food section. Ellie mostly solves the mystery by being in the right place at the right time. She doesn't actively pursue her suspects. The first half of the book builds up 3 relatives as major suspects, but they barely appear in the second half. I would give the best drop subplot to Felicity. The last time we see her, she has a huge screaming fit where she swears to get revenge. I can't believe she didn't return in the final 150 pages. I think part of the problem is that the book does an imperfect job of balancing the finding the missing letters mystery with the figure out who killed the victim mystery. The murder mystery is the one that gets less attention. All the suspects are for the letters mystery, and we know they must be innocent because they share the alibi of being at the funeral when the murder happened. Mitch's sister from book 3 is mentioned a few times, but she never appears. I don't know why. Presumably she's one of the relatives who attends the reading of the will since she inherits something. Overall, I like the book. I wish there was more to the mystery angle and less to the cozy organizer angle. But it's still miles better than some of the Hannah Swenson cozy mysteries, where the entire investigation is Hannah meets the 3 suspects. I give Ellie Avery number 6, Mimosas, Mischief, and Murder a 6 out of 10.